Hey guys, the Wolf Den here, and today I will be offering a how-to guide on assembling the Ork Metal Dreadnought, or Deff Dread, from 1999 for those of you who have one and are seeking a bit more help in putting their model together, as the most recent made-to-order version of this kit did not come with any instructions. This model, while extremely cool looking, has had a bit of an infamous reputation for how tricky it is to go together, despite its small piece count. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the components that I've listed in a handy reference guide, as well as the instructions found on older releases of the Ork Metal Dreadnought, and I'll cover a few of the basics on how to put your model together as well before we get started. Let's get into it. Before we begin with the assembly steps and tips, here is a quick reference guide to all of the parts that come with your kit, or should come with it if you bought a made-to-order model like I did. The parts for the 1999 Ork Dreadnought are as follows. 1. Dreadnought base. 2. Dreadnought front plate. 3. Dreadnought back plate. 4. Dreadnought hips and leg connectors. 5. Dreadnought power plant. 6. Dreadnought top hatch. 7. Dreadnought legs times 2. 8. Dreadnought foot times 2. 9. Dreadnought arm design 1. 10. Dreadnought arm design 2. 11. Dreadnought power claw. 12. Dreadnought power saw. 13. Big shooter and ammo box. 14. Rocket launcher. 15. Scorcher with canister. 16. Deff Dread accessory sprue 1. 17. Deff Dread accessory sprue 2. 18. Deff Dread banner pole. 19. Ork Dreadnought and Ork transfer sheet. Once you have checked over the contents of your model and made sure you have all the components, you're going to want to gather the following supplies. These include paper clips, which will help with pinning the model together and ensuring that the legs and feet do not become separated from the body as you work with it, as well as any other parts that refuse to stay glued to the body. A super glue of your choice, or in this model's case, I would recommend an epoxy of your choice. I went with Zap-A-Gap Medium CA, however, I would recommend a gel super glue as well as a heavier glue like epoxy for this model, as it's very prone to falling apart. And finally, before we begin, you're going to want to take care of a few extra steps. The first step is going to be removing all of the parts from their metal runners and using a hobby knife to gently remove the mold lines off of each part, being extremely careful as you do so. Next, once that's finished, prepare a bath of warm water and a nice degreasing dish soap and let the parts stay in this water for a few hours. Once that's done, take a used toothbrush and gently scrub each piece, making sure to get all of the surfaces, as this will remove the mold release agent often found on metal models. And this will ensure a better glue fit once you're ready to glue, as release agent will mess with the glue as it sets, preventing a good fit. Alternatively, you can use an ultrasonic cleaner to clean the parts as well with a bit of water and dish soap. I usually run mine for 15 minutes per batch of parts that I put in to make sure. Finally, rinse all parts in warm water and let each of the parts dry. Once they're dry, we're ready to begin assembly. Another tool that you're going to want for this build is either a small pin vise or a small hand drill, with the bit size being about the size of a paper clip. This will come in handy later on during the build, as pinning this model's legs are essential to keeping the model stable. Step 1. You're going to need the front of the main body, the back of the main body, and the bottom part of the chassis. Make sure none of the parts are warped to ensure a good fit. Step 2. Coat the basin-like part of the bottom of the chassis with glue or epoxy, making sure that the cables and rivets are facing forward like so. Press back of chassis in like so and let dry. Step 3. Lightly bead glue or super glue on the edges or bottom part of the chassis, and press both halves together over the round base. For a more secure fit, use plenty of super glue as the body is hollow and score the edges to ensure a tight fit, and use a rubber band to make sure the fit is seamless, and let dry. Step 4. Get the Dreadnought power plant and rotate the chassis around. Line up the grooves, score gently with the slot in the power plant, and make sure all of the pieces are oriented correctly. Apply a generous amount of superglue or epoxy along the grooves in space and press together. Rubber banding is optional to ensure a tight fit. Step 5. Place a circle of glue around the edges of the Dreadnought top hatch, making sure to align the notch on the hatch with the notch on the body itself, and apply pressure to gently move parts into position. It should slot right in and remain secure. Press gently to ensure a tight fit. Step 6. Find the small hand crank and the large hand crank out of the Dreadnought bit sprues, and apply a small drop of adhesive on the backs of each piece, and apply onto each of the knobs sticking out of the back of the power plant. Adjust to make sure each crank is sitting flat. Step 7. Get both arm pieces in desired orientation, as well as the power claw and power saw pieces. Remove all extra flash along the weapons. Apply small beads of superglue in the desired positions and orientations of each weapon in each square tab, which will align with the square tab on each of the weapon, and let dry. Step 8. Choose which side, left or right, you want your big shooter to face if you're going to use this weapon. Trim all flash around the gun and the ammo box, and make sure the barrel of the gun is straight. If it's not, apply a bit of warm water and gently bend the barrel back into position. Apply a small amount of adhesive over the square part of the top of the shooter, and the ammo box will be mounted on the opposite side on which side you want the gun to face, facing out. Apply a bit of pressure and let dry. Step 9. Scorcher assembly. Same principle applies like the big shooter if you're going to use this weapon. The fuel canister will be placed on the opposite side in the groove on which side you want the gun to go on. Left or right, apply a small bit of super glue into the channel and gently press the fuel canister into place and let dry. Step 10. Leg assembly. The trickiest part of this model by far. Leg assembly 1. You're going to want to score the surfaces on where the leg will slot into the main body. As you can see, there's a channel as well as a ridge on each leg piece. Leg will slot into this channel at an angle. Using a pin vise or a hand drill, gently bore several small paperclip size holes into both the inner part of the leg as well as the body. Then cut a small piece of paperclip to span the gap that will be covered by both parts. Apply a generous coating of epoxy, making sure that covering both the paperclip and both halves of the leg, and press with good gentle pressure into place. Apply a rubber band to make sure the leg remains in place while the epoxy or the superglue adheres into place. Note the angle on which the slot and the leg are to make sure it is oriented correctly. Step 11. Opposite leg. The same pinning principles apply here for this leg. Note the orientation of the leg and its position to the body. Pin leg with the paperclip and apply a generous amount of adhesive to ensure a structured and secure fit. Apply pressure and let dry. Step 12. The feet. The second most difficult part of this build. You may want to get some green stuff for this part as well. Make sure feet will be correctly positioned. The heels are slightly shorter than the toes on the feet. Make sure they are in the position and orientation relative to the ankles, leg, and the base to ensure a flat fit if you're going to go with the walking pose. Apply generous amounts of adhesive into the slots of each foot as well as a small bit of green stuff to ensure a tight fit. And gently bring each leg down into the foot, making sure that the feet are grounded and the walker is sitting comfortably in each foot slot relative to the base. Apply additional adhesives if wobbly, or add gap fillers or additional green stuff if the feet are not staying secure during the gluing process. Step 13. Before the model is glued to the base, take the large cable and feed it between the two slotted areas near each leg and apply dots of adhesive and let dry. This will allow the cable to set into place before the model is glued to its base. Step 14. Apply glue onto each foot and gently set down onto the base, applying adhesive to any loose or weak feeling joints and allow time to dry. The legs of this model are the hardest part of the entire build and will support the entire weight of this metal model. So patience, pinning, and plenty of adhesive are the most important parts here. Give the model ample time to dry before continuing to the next steps to ensure that the model will not fall apart while you continue the build. Step 15. Take the small hatch lever and the spiked grate pieces and apply a gentle amount of superglue onto each piece. The handle may need a bit of cutting or drilling to hollow out the cavity where it will sit on top of the dreadnought like so. The spiked grill can be applied anywhere on the model. I chose the flat surface on the front. Step 16. Smoke launcher and scope. Take the scope piece and on the opposite side with the chunky peg, apply a small bit of superglue and choose the position and orientation on where you'd like the scope to be. I chose dead center, but I imagine this part being like the eye sensor on a Zaku 2 from Gundam and can pivot from left to right on either side. Then apply a small bit of superglue onto the base of the smoke launcher and apply anywhere on the model that you'd like. I chose the top hatch. Step 17. Weapon mounts. On each weapon mount, apply glue to the thicker pegs onto each mount. These will be inserted into the dreadnought body like so. Each peg will look like a hand crank on a music box, with a thinner peg facing forward and out like so. These will mount your weapons. If you like to make your weapons swappable, apply a small amount of superglue onto these thin pegs repeatedly and let dry. This will form a coating that will thicken the peg and will allow the weapons to slot in and out using the holes on each weapon and to remain on without being glued permanently. Step 18. On each weapon, if you so choose, apply a small bit of superglue into each of the weapon holes and allow to dry. This will work in conjunction with the thicker pegs to allow weapon swapping. If you're going to choose a specific loadout for your Metal Dreadnought, ignore this and hard glue in the orientation of your choosing. Step 19. Boss pole mounting. Choose a position on the back of the power plant where you'd like the boss pole to go, and insert a small dab of superglue onto the pre-cut slot. This slot might need to be cut a bit larger or use your hand drill to make the hole a bit bigger, and gently press against the back of the model wherever you'd like to put it, if you choose to use it, so feel free to put it anywhere you'd like on the back of the model. Step 20. If you wish for the arms to remain static, apply a generous amount of adhesive onto each thick peg and insert into the desired positions on the chassis. If you wish for them to be movable or to remove them, apply several layers of adhesive onto each peg and let dry, like we did with the weapon mounts. This will build up a tolerance to allow the arms to pivot or to be removed for easy storage. And with that, your model is completed. Congratulations! The small cable doesn't really seem to have a place on this model, so you can put it wherever you'd like, or to put it in your bits box for later use, along with any of the extra weapons you didn't choose to use during this build. Thank you very much for checking out this building tutorial of the Metal 1999 Ork Dreadnought, and I hope this tutorial was helpful in assembling your model.